This is the Hanging with A podcast.
What's up? This is the Hanging with A podcast, coming to you always from Brockton, Massachusetts. Before we even get started with episode 47, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there, to all my subscribers, to all my followers, everybody that likes the Hanging with A podcast, everybody that follows the Hanging with A podcast. I really appreciate it very, very much from the bottom of my heart. We're at 3K subscribers right now, 3,075, I believe, right now, on our way to 4,000 subscribers. I just want to say thank you to every single one of you for just, tapping in, every time I come on an episode and just believing in me enough to watch my platform and to share my platform as well. So I want to say thank you very much to all of you. It doesn't get to 3,000 subscribers and more without the support of you. So thank you very much for all your love and support. You can find the Hanging with A podcast on Spotify now. Hanging with A podcast is now available on Spotify audio. You can also find this episode on my YouTube channel. Make sure you click the link in my bio on Instagram, the Hanging with A podcast. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on my Facebook group. I have a linking tree where you can just hit it on my Instagram and all of that stuff will come up. So I just want to say, just thank you to everybody. Just continue to subscribe and keep tapping in and keep watching the Hanging with A podcast. Thank you to everybody who watched episode 46 with me and my mom. That was an incredible episode. I love you, Mom, very much. Thank you for coming on the Hanging with A podcast and sharing my platform. I know you believe in me a lot. And, it just was a beautiful time to, have that episode and have that moment with you. So thank you very much. Got a lot of things to get into on this episode. I am doing this episode by myself. I'm trying to get more episodes by myself. So I've been working on that, but we're going to talk about a lot of things on this episode. We're going to talk about Jay-Z's Blueprint turning 22 years old. We're also going to talk about all the summer concerts from Beyonce, Drake, Taylor Swift. We're also going to talk about Swamp Kings, a new documentary on Netflix. We're also going to talk about the Nebraska girls volleyball team selling out 92,000 plus. The whole Lincoln Stadium in Nebraska for volleyball. My first time watching a volleyball game of that magnitude. And we're just going to talk about a lot of things. But first thing we're going to get into is Jay-Z's Blueprint, that turned 22 years old. I remember where I was at when the Blueprint came out. 2001, I was in 10th grade. That is the day that the Twin Towers got crashed into. Very, very sad day in history. After, everybody kind of got their emotions under that, which, a lot of people never did, because that was a tough day for everybody. I hustled down to Best Buy to pick up Jay-Z's 6th studio album, The Blueprint, which was an instant classic. I remember the week before that, Funkmaster Flex played every single song off that album. On this album, Jay-Z would go up and go up against Nas and Mobb Deep, and pretty much stake his claim for the King of New York by calling out Nas on the Takeover. The Blueprint also introduced us to Kanye West, Just Blaze, the soul sampling, that feel back. You had tracks on there like The Ruler's Back, H to the Izzo, Takeover, Girls, 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 All I Need, Song Cry, Renegade, that featured Eminem. Eminem was the only feature on there. Mama Loves Me, track 14, Part of the City. So you had so many different things. I feel like in this moment, Jay-Z was at his peak. He was at his highest. He was the greatest rapper of all time. And I felt like he was just pretty much just bringing it all to you. It took him 2 days to record 14 tracks. I think he ended up doing 30 tracks, but he only kept 14. I think he should have made it a double album. That would have been dope. I think it probably would have been one of the greatest double albums of all time, just at where he was at in his career. Takeover. We talked a little bit about Takeover. He called out Nas. He called out Mobb Deep. We all know how that ended up with him. Nas ended up coming out with Ether and pretty much shut the whole thing down and ended up beating Jay-Z in that battle. Jay-Z came out with Super Ugly to come back with Ether, and it just was no match for it. His mom actually told him to apologize for coming out with that record. But great album, man. One of the greatest albums of all time. One of my favorite albums of all time. I feel like Jay-Z was at his highest when he came out with that album lyrically. There's nothing that he could do that he could not do in that moment. I just felt like it was like Superman. You know what I mean? No chinks in his armor. Rapping, the best that he ever rapped. And before that, he had came up with the Dynasty. And I remember getting the Source magazine. Shout out to the Source magazine. Back in the day, that's how you figured out what the greatest hip hop albums of all time were. You went to the Source, you jumped to the back of the Source, and you saw the mic rating. Jay-Z's Blueprint got 5 mics in the Source, making it an instant classic. Jay-Z's first 5 mic album. And it just was a big deal. I got the Source. I got 2 copies of the actual album. I also had the burnt copy. So it was great. Also, You Don't Know was also on the Blueprint. There's so many hits, nothing but hits. Every single song on that album could have been on the radio. So shout out to Jay-Z, man. Shout out to the Blueprint. 50 years of hip hop. That's one of the greatest albums of all time. So shout out to Jay-Z for that record. That's an awesome record. There's also a lot of hip hop albums that have come out. Just this past week, Nas and Hit Boy released their 6th album together in the trilogy of Hit Boy and Nas. Magic 3 came out last Friday. Unbelievable album. Another great body of work by Nas. They just don't miss. Him and Hit Boy do not miss at all. Hit Boy is probably one of the best producers in the game right now, and Nas is one of the greatest MCs of all time. King Disease 2, King Disease 3, Magic 1, Magic 2, Magic 3. They just don't miss. There's so many good songs on Magic 3. The Fever, They're Gonna Love You. We have Never Die, which features Lil Wayne. So many great tracks on there. Nas is at his lyrical best. I feel like he found the fountain of youth when it comes to hip hop right now. He is doing this thing, and he has no signs of slowing down at all. I hope he doesn't slow down, because that's my era of hip hop, my generation of hip hop. So make sure you tap into Magic 3 with Hit Boy and Nas, their 6th studio album in the trilogy. Can't pronounce that word. Trilogy. Sorry, not trilogy. Trilogy. 6th studio album in the trilogy, which is perfect. It's a 10 out of 10. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's a lot of great records on that album. Nas, again, like I said before, like he does not miss at all. So shout out to Nas, shout out to Hit Boy. Also, Ransom put out a beautiful album. Spare the Head, great album, great tracks on that album. Ransom is also another MC out here that is not missing at all. Ransom is probably my best MC out right now. I love Ransom. I love what he's coming with, that boom bap, that style, that 90s feel, rapping with a substance, rapping with a message. Ransom never misses. This album does not miss at all. A fantastic album, a great body of work by him. Unbelievable. So shout out to Ransom for the record that he put out also. That also came out on Friday. Also, another track that came out on Friday, Drake, Sliming Me Out with SZA. Unbelievable track. Drake looks like he's back in his bag. For All the Dogs, and has been pushed back to October 6th. It's supposed to come out this Friday, September 22nd, but it's been pushed back to October 6th. I think Drake is cooking up a classic. I think this is going to be classic Drake. I hope that there's a lot of rapping on this and not so much singing, but he can do it both. He can sing, he can rap. He doesn't miss either. So I'm looking forward to hearing Drake's album For All the Dogs coming out October 6th. Right now, Drake is doing an unbelievable tour, handing out Chanel bags, getting bras thrown at him. He is doing this thing right now on tour, walking through the crowd. The All a Blur tour is really living up to that. I've seen all the pictures, all the videos, and everybody that has been going to the show. He is really doing this thing. He starts the tour off with "Look at What You've Done," where he's sitting next to a hologram of himself. I think that is really dope. But that's Drake. Drake just doesn't miss. He doesn't miss at all. And he is, one of the greatest rappers of all time. He is saying this is going to be a classic, but Drake has many classics. Nothing Was the Same. Take Care. If you're reading this, it's too late. I think Scorpion was a pretty good album. Views was a good album. What else does he have? The album with 21 Savage, I think was a great album, even though I feel like he carried, and he walked on every single track, and I think he carried 21 Savage on that album, but that's just my opinion. But I think it's a good album. And I think that this For All the Dogs is going to be a great album by Drake. But that is what's going on in hip-hop, man. We still celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. Shout out to all the greatest MCs out there of all time. I've been sharing. If you've been following me on Instagram, I've been posting an artist from back in the day, like every day. I think I posted Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, AZ. I haven't done AZ yet. Foxy Brown, MC Light, Queen Latifah. I think I've done Missy. So I've been doing all that just to, give hip hop its love. So shout out to all that. And I've also been doing artist spotlight, man. There's a lot of unsigned artists out here that are killing the game right now. Shout out to my boy YBN Legacy, who was on episode 45. Legacy versus David is out right now. If you have not streamed that album, not listened to that album, you need to go ahead and check into that. It's a masterpiece. Shout out to C's, man. C's the MC. C's killing it right now out of Brockton. Shout out to him. I got to get C's on the podcast. He's out here killing it also. There's so many artists out here that's doing their thing. Shout out to Kay. She's got a show coming up. Kay is one of my favorite female MCs of all time. I think I've said that on multiple occasions. The Queen of Rhode Island. She's got a show September 30th. Make sure you tap in and you check that out. What else? Who else we got out here that's doing their thing? Shout out to my boy Jay Flame. Jay Flame's got an album getting ready to come out, produced by my boy Dolce Burner. Two of my brothers from back home. They got an album coming out, so make sure you tap into that when it drops. I gotta holla at Flame so I can hear the album before it drops. I know he's gonna come out with something crazy. He's been on tour right now. He's been killing it. He's been doing this thing. So shout out to Flame also. So that's what's going on in hip hop right now. Let's transition to Netflix. All right, you know what I mean. We talk about some of everything on the Hanging with A podcast. Netflix have just dropped the documentary Swamp Kings about the University of Florida. Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, Brandon Spikes, who else? The Pouncey brothers, Percy Harvin, that whole era. If you were around growing up during that time and you had a chance to watch Florida football, it was the best. Shout out to Urban Meyer, who is my favorite college football coach of all time. That documentary is a great documentary. It takes you inside of what was going on, what was life like for the University of Florida. Tim Tebow, two-time Heisman Trophy winner. You know, you got Percy Harvin on one side. You got Brandon Spikes on defense. You got Aaron Hernandez. You got so many different people that came out of Florida during that time. Florida was a powerhouse, back-to-back national championships. Then they beat Ohio State one year, and then I think they went back and they beat Oklahoma. Incredible. Couple of things about the documentary that I did not like. I feel like they left out a lot of things that they should have included. Like they did not include Aaron Hernandez story, which I get it. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Aaron Hernandez. I get it. You know what he did. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know, taking somebody's life, you know, which is, you know, there's no coming back from that. But I do think that he was a part of Florida football. And I think to leave his story out and leave his part of history out, I don't think that, you know, that was fair. So I wish that they would have added a little bit more to it. But for the most part, it's a good documentary. You can watch it right now on Netflix. I think they did a pretty good job. Urban Meyer, shout out to Urban Meyer. Shout out to Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin. That whole Florida squad was unbelievable. I hope that at some point they do a documentary on the Florida Gators basketball team led by Billy Donovan with Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Brandon Brewer, that whole squad, because that squad was unbelievable also. So I hope they got something like that coming in the works. I try to watch most of those documentaries, those sports documentaries when they come out, because I mean they talk about a lot of good stuff on there. So I try to watch it as much as possible when they do come out. But the Swamp Kings is out right now on Netflix. Make sure you tap into that and make sure you go ahead and you watch that. So there you go, Swamp Kings on Netflix. I had the privilege a couple of weeks ago where my fiance is a assistant coach at UMass Boston, volleyball coach. She's also she also played volleyball Division I. She also played volleyball professionally. She's also in the Brockton Hall of Fame for volleyball. I love her to death. She introduced me to volleyball. I go to the games to support her. I watch the games on TV now that I know what I'm watching. I had the opportunity to watch the unbelievable women's volleyball team at Nebraska. They sold out a stadium of 92,000 and counting for a volleyball game. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was unbelievable. I had never seen anything like that. And it was so beautiful to see women represented that way on that stage. It was a big stage. All right, my eyes were glued to the TV. It was unbelievable. The match was really good. Nebraska is a powerhouse. I did not know that at all. Shout out to Nebraska women's volleyball team. I hope that they win the whole thing. And ever since that game where they sold out, I've been glued in. I've been tapped in, watching every game that I can of Nebraska volleyball. And, you know, watching a lot of the other volleyball games. I know Wisconsin just upset Florida. Florida was number 3. Wisconsin was number 1. They edged them earlier this week. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tap into everything. I'm trying to get into I'm into the basketball. I'm into the boxing, football, and now I'm into volleyball. But I think that was incredible that the Nebraska volleyball team sold out that many people. I believe in the state of Nebraska, volleyball is big. It's a huge thing, and it's a big deal. I know Nebraska football hasn't been that good as of late. You know, back in '95, they had Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips. They had that whole powerhouse. Nebraska was a powerhouse led by Coach Tommy Osborne. That's not the case anymore. Volleyball pretty much is running the town. Girls are running the town, and it's beautiful to see all the unbelievable things that's going on right now in Lincoln, Nebraska with the women's volleyball team. So shout out to the Nebraska volleyball team. That was an unbelievable game. And it just is nice to kind of like get into volleyball. Before, I did not understand it at all. I understand it now thanks to my fiance and thanks to, her coaching and her teaching me a few things about volleyball. So shout out to the Nebraska girls volleyball team. With that being said, let's go ahead and transition to our next topic. Concerts, man. Been a lot of great concerts this summer. Beyonce's Renaissance concert, unbelievable. My fiance went to that. She said she had an incredible time. Beyonce does not miss at all. Everybody loves Queen Bee. Shout out to the whole Beehive, everybody that loves Beyonce. It's been so beautiful to see everybody posting all their pictures from the concert. All the moments from the concert. I've been able to see her when she's in DC. I've seen her when she went to Vegas. I've seen her when she came here to Boston. I've seen her when she went to, I think, Las Vegas. I'm seeing all of it. You know what I mean? Some of my coworkers, they've been able to go to the Renaissance tour. Some of my friends have gone to the Renaissance tour. Beyonce is that woman. You know what I mean? And we all love Beyonce. We love her music. The Renaissance album is a very, very good album. I feel like that's an album no skips, because I feel like if you skip anything on the Beyonce album, you are missing out on the message. So you got to listen to it all the way through, man. But incredible body of work by Beyonce. She's doing her thing. The Renaissance tour is selling out all over the place. She has Blue on there with her. Jay-Z has been in attendance, supporting his wife and giving love to his wife. And it's just been unbelievable to see just, everybody, that's been going to the tour. It's also beautiful to see Blue Ivy. Like, Blue Ivy's been dancing with her in a lot of these shows. So it's nice to see her doing her thing, and then also see her daughter doing her thing as well. So, that's also incredible to watch and see. So you got Beyonce, you got Taylor Swift. Shout out to the Swifties. I think that's what they call themselves. But you got Taylor Swift, man. The Taylor Swift tour has taken off also. Taylor Swift is out here doing her thing. I've listened to a couple of Taylor Swift songs, not that many. Please don't kill me, the Taylor Swift fans. But I've tapped in here and there and listened to a couple of songs by Taylor Swift. But Taylor Swift also has a fantastic tour out right now. We cannot forget about that, because she's also owned the summer. She's got a ton of hits. She's a hell of a singer. People love her and love what she's doing. So shout out to Taylor Swift. Like I said before, Drake, it was all a blur tour. He is doing his thing, man. My man's walking through crowds. He's getting bras thrown at him. He's handing out Chanel bags. He's giving life quotes. He's talking about For All the Dogs album that's coming out. My man is giving it 110% right now on tour. So shout out to Drake. Shout out to Taylor Swift. Shout out to Beyonce, because they own the summer as far with their tours and the money that they're making on those. So shout out to all three of them for their fantastic tours. Let's go ahead, man, and transition to, let's transition back a little bit, because I talked about the 50 years of hip hop. Cannot forget about this. I've been trying to go to this. I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, but I definitely want to go. The Book of HOV, man, at the Brooklyn Library. Shout out to anybody that's went to that. The Book of HOV. The Brooklyn Library has put on a whole Jay-Z exhibit for free, highlighting Jay-Z's career from Reasonable Doubt all the way to where he's at now. I think right now they added the Lexus that is in the Dead Presidents video. That is out front when you go to the library. I definitely don't know if I'm going to make it. I know it's ending in October. I was supposed to go this summer to check it out, and I was going to vlog about it and everything like that. I love Jay-Z. Everybody that knows me knows that is my greatest and my favorite MC of all time. He is the greatest MC of all time to me. That is my humble opinion. And I think it's so cool that they did an exhibit in his honor and in his name, because he is that dude, and he's Jay-Z. So if you haven't got a chance, or if you have got a chance, make sure you go check that out, man. It's free. It's at the Brooklyn Library, and it's incredible to see everything that is going on right now with Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce with the tour in the Book of HOV. So the Book of HOV at the Brooklyn Library, make sure you go and tap into that and check that out. Transition a little bit. Let's go ahead and talk about college football. Let's talk about the man right now in college football. Let's talk about Coach Prime, who is out here doing his thing as a coach. He's got the Colorado Buffalo right now at 3-0. 3 incredible games that he has coached. 3 incredible games that his team has played. They had to come from behind last Saturday and they beat Colorado State. They had to come from behind and they beat TCU. And they just pretty much ran through Nebraska. Coach Prime is changing the landscape of college football. Make sure you pay attention to what he's doing. He's changing the landscape, man. He's kicking down doors for us, letting us, now we can come in and do the same thing that he's doing. Quite not like him. Colorado went 1-11 last year. They're 3-0 already. He coached at an HBCU school last year, Jackson State. He killed it and did his thing there. Not only is he killing it, he brought his sons, Shador, Shiloh. Shiloh is the safety for Colorado. Shador is the quarterback for Colorado. Coach Prime is doing his thing. Maybe I can get Coach Prime on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. But shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to Colorado University. It's been incredible to watch, man. He's got all these celebrities at these games. Offset was at the game. Lil Wayne walked the team out last Saturday. Wu-Tang Clan was at the game. Cameron was at the game. Ghost from Power was at the game. He's gotten so many celebrities to come to these games and come be a part of what's going on. And I just think it's fantastic what he's building there and the foundation that he is building there with the University of Colorado. And I just hope that they continue to win. I know their schedule is going to get hard here in a little bit, but I just hope that he continues to win. It'd be nice if he can get to the national championship game. I know that's like far forward thinking, but anything is possible. So you never know what can happen. VMAs, man. Let's talk a little bit about the VMAs. VMAs was classic. Shout out to P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him. Just came out with an album called Off the Grid. The Love album, that's what he's calling it. Fantastic album. If you have not heard that album, you need to tap in and listen to that. That's a fantastic album as well. Diddy got the Lifetime Achievement Award at the VMAs. And he's done so many hits, man. He's such a great producer. Not so much a great MC, but he's a great producer. He can produce anything, make you feel like you are the best thing in the world. That is what he does. That is what he's good at. And I just remember growing up in the era with the shiny suits, with Mace, with the Locks, Puff Daddy and the Family, the tour, and all of that. It just brought me back to so many of those memories when he was doing all of those things. So shout out to Puff Daddy. Shout out to the accomplishment he got. The VMAs was pretty good. Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, they got a banger out right now. They did their thing at the VMAs. Nicki Minaj, man. Everybody's, talk about Nicki. What's the VMAs without Nicki? What's some controversy without Nicki? Nicki, again, going at any female artist that thinks that they're on her level. She's got the Pink Print 2 coming out in October. So she's getting ready, man. She feels like, people trying to come and take her spot. And she ain't ready to give her spot up yet. So shout out to Nicki Minaj. Shout out to Cardi B. Shout out to Meg Thee Stallion. Shout out to Puffy, P. Diddy. Again, like I said, whatever you choose to call him, shout out to all of them because that is fantastic. The album that he just came out with, some of everybody on there, Justin Bieber, Mary J. Blige, The Weeknd, 21 Savage, French Montana, Rick Ross, Busta Rhymes, just to name a few, man. But he's got so many people on that album, and he's done so many incredible things. So shout out to Puffy. I just want to thank everybody, man, for just, again, like I said at the beginning, is for tuning in to the Hanging with A podcast. We have 3K subscribers, like I said before, and growing. I really appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for everything. Without you guys, nothing is possible. I could not do this without you. I love all of you very much. And it's just, it's just been a great experience. Like when I started this 3 years ago, I did not think it was going to get here. I am on my way to my 50th episode. And again, all of that is not possible without the love and support of all of you. Believe in yourself. You know what I mean? If I can leave you with anything, my thing is to believe in yourself. Anything is possible. Believe in your dreams. Go after your dreams. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you cannot achieve something. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. You can do anything you set your mind to. When I started this podcast, my goal was for it to be monetized, to make a little bit of money off of it. Hanging with A podcast is monetized. I make a little bit of money off of it. Not a lot, but I'm doing my thing. And I'm going to continue to work hard and continue to do what I have to do because, you know what I mean? I love doing this and I love interviewing the people. I love sharing people's stories and I love, everything that I'm able to give back to people and the platform that I am building here. What else, man? I feel like there's a lot going on. We talked about Drake. We talked about Beyonce. We talked about Jay-Z. We talked about the albums that came out. We talked about the Nebraska volleyball team. Again, that's so incredible that they sold out 92,000 plus. We talked about all the Blur tour. Talked about everything. Shout out to all the kids that went back to school. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of them. You know what I mean? Back to school. I'm a teacher. I'm back at school. I teach history, Black history at Bridge Boston. Shout out to Bridge Boston Charter School. So I'm back at school. I know a lot of the kids, great summer. They're back at school. The NFL has started back up. You know what I mean? So shout out to that. They're going into week 3. Bengals are 0-2 right now. Ravens are 2-0 right now. Chiefs are 1-1. Bills are 1-1. A lot of the top teams that a lot of people pick, the 49ers are undefeated right now, which is, incredible. The Washington Commanders are undefeated right now. Shout out to all my people back in the DMV that are Washington Commander fans. So the football season's getting off to a pretty good start. The NBA season's going to start here soon. You got that getting ready to start back up. The Denver Nuggets won the NBA Finals, won the championship, so you got that getting ready to start back up, which is also incredible, and a lot of people are looking forward to that. We'll go back to the NFL, but I haven't done my NFL picks, but like I picked last year, I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl again, even though they look a little bit rusty right now. I'm picking Kansas City and the San Francisco 49ers to battle it out for the Super Bowl. Maybe make sure, you heard it here first, September 22nd, 2023, hanging with Abe, Chiefs versus 49ers in the Super Bowl. I think that's how it's going to go down, because I just think that, again, when you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Andy Reid, you got Travis Kelce, I think anything is possible. They got Chris Jones back in the fold, so he's back here doing this thing. So it's nice to see all of that coming together for the Kansas City Chiefs. Buffalo Bills, we'll see what they can do. I always feel like they're just a one-man show. Josh Allen looks like he's got a little bit more help, a little bit more pep in the step. I was disappointed in them last year when they got beat by the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals are a good team, even though they are 0-2. If they go 0-3, I think it's time to worry. Joe Burrow does not look like himself. He does not look good throwing the football. So we'll see. We'll see if they can turn it around and get back on track. The 49ers are undefeated. The Philadelphia Eagles are undefeated. The Dallas Cowboys are undefeated. Shout out to all my Cowboy fans out there. I know y'all feeling good right now with y'all record being 2-0 right now and going into week 3. I think it's Dallas and the New York Giants that play. New York Giants, they got to win over the weekend. The New England Patriots are 0-2. The Miami Dolphins 2-0. They look good right now, man. Tyreek Hill is balling all over the place, running past everybody. My man is fast. You know what I mean? I think fast is an understatement, but he is out here killing it right now and doing his thing. So shout out to the Miami Dolphins. Shout out to the NFL season. Shout out to hip-hop, man. I started this show off talking about hip-hop, 50 years of hip-hop. Shout out to hip-hop, man. Shout out to Nas and Hit Boy for coming out with Magic 3. Shout out to Ransom for coming out with the Spare the Head album. Blueprint turning 22 years old. Again, I just remember where I was at when that album dropped. It just was a moment in hip hop. And I think in that year you had the Blueprint that dropped. You had Stillmatic that dropped. You had the Fix by Scarface that dropped. All 3 of those got 5 mics in the source. You had the Eminem Show by Eminem that dropped. All those albums dropped around the same time. It just was a moment. This is when hip hop was. It just was the center of everything. You know what I mean? You had your Source magazine. You rushed to Best Buy to pick up a copy of the albums and to pick up a copy of the Source magazine. So it's just beautiful to see where hip hop is going and where it's going to continue to go. Shout out to all the unsigned artists out there, man, doing their thing, man, just working on their craft. Keep shining, man. I see all of you, and you know what I mean. I'm always here to support. I'm trying to get a lot of you on the Hanging with A podcast to interview you and talk to you. So, man, shout out to 50 Years of Hip Hop. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up episode 47. This is episode 47 of the Hanging with A podcast. I appreciate all the love and support. Make sure you tap in, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share. Peace and love.